Okay, I just have a couple wrap-up comments. First, I'd like to thank all of the participants of the meeting today, especially the speakers. I think it was a fantastic day of science. And I don't know if Trey mentioned this at the beginning, but we had coordinated this symposium with a scientific advisory board meeting that we have tomorrow for one of our centers, the Cancer Cell Map Initiative. We have people from NCI here, Dan Gallahan and Shannon Hughes. I'm not sure if they're still here. And we actually have three of the speakers today are serving on our scientific advisory board. I just want to thank them for hanging around tomorrow. That's Rodney Rothstein, Ben Raphael, and Barry Honig. And I'd like to thank them for the positive comments they're going to give us tomorrow on the progress of our center. I can thank you in advance for that. And as Trey had mentioned, we actually have recently, in the last few months, have gotten two other center grants focused on two other disease areas. And it's worth pointing out that these centers are from three different institutes. And really at the underlying focus here is the same in terms of the technology. But what's also very exciting to me is that the biology is very similar as well. And this has only recently become noticeable because, as most of you know, science is very siloed. It's siloed on pretty much every level. You look at an academic institution, you have the cancer center on one end of the campus, you have the neurodegenerative research building on another end, you have the heart disease center, maybe across the street. It's siloed at Big Pharma. You have all these divisions that are really not talking to one another, and it's very siloed at NIH as well. These different institutes are focused on different disease areas. And really what's exciting to me are that these cell mapping approaches and these technologies are finding these commonalities across these different disease areas. It's the same genes being mutated in cancer that are being hijacked by HIV. It's the same genes being mutated in autism that are being hijacked by Zika. So these mapping approaches are not just making connections between genes and proteins, but between different scientists focused on different disease areas. Maybe there's some knowledge or some reagents on one disease that could be brought to bear on another, or vice versa, or even a treatment that's available for one disease that should be used on another. And going forward with respect to the cell mapping symposium, one could envision that instead of demarcating the symposium into different disease areas, what we could be doing is demarcating them based on different pathways or biological areas, and then highlight how different diseases are impinging on those biological areas. So really what these approaches are doing are making, allowing us to break these silos down that exist at all these different levels, and you can see us dancing along there on the tight wire rope. And just want to end by probably the most important slide here, just to thank the individuals that helped organize this meeting. We've got a really great crew here. It's this cross UCSF, UCSD crew. On the bottom there on the left, there's Gina and Jacqueline, and on the top, they work with me at UCSF, and then Jason at the top, and on the far right is Charlotte. They work with Trey here at UCSD, and I have some gifts for them. I'm going to force them to come up here, okay? And Gina, unfortunately, is not here, but Jacqueline Fabius, Jason Kreisberg, and Charlotte Curtis, could you guys come up here, please? So I'll start with Charlotte. So this is actually a picture from last year, and I heard a rumor that the wine we gave to her last year, she actually re-gifted. So we're not going to give her any more alcohol, but this is the equivalent of an Amazon gift card, okay? So, and then, that's good. But for these two, we got them booze. So here's two whiskeys for Jacqueline. You can pick which one you want.
Okay. Thank you.
And Jason. So I'd like to thank these individuals for all their hard work. And as Trey said, this is the second annual Cell Mapping Symposium. We're going back and forth between San Diego and the Bay Area, so I look forward to seeing you next year at UCSF. So thank you all for your participation.